one of the greatest victories of the elite is convincing the average person that politics is too complicated for them. They should not speak up unless they completely understand the intricacies of politics. Yeah, I think like sometimes that happens. Like I had that situation too where I was like misinformed on something. And like I got a lot of shit for it. Like it made me kind of shut down where I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk about politics ever again. Last year someone was like coming into my chat and was just like random, and they were like asking me about like Antifa. And like I was under the impression that instead of it being like, okay, everybody who's against fascism is like part of Antifa, I thought it was more like like an extremist type of thing, because that's how it was like covered back then during like the G20 in Germany with like the riots and whatnot. But like the people who were like Antifa and whatnot, they were just like doing peaceful protests, and the ones who like set things on fire and like raided everything, they were basically they were just right-wingers, you know. They were like right-wing extremists, but the media kind of like covered it in a way, and they just were like, oh, these raids and whatnot, that's just Antifa. And I was like under the impression, okay, that's true. And I didn't like look into it because like I didn't care. And then the question came up, and like I said something wrong, and I got like shit for it. I banned my moderator for, you know, escalating the situation, and like I ended stream and I started crying. I started to have like the rule, okay, we're not going to talk about politics anymore. Obviously now like I looked into it and I figured out, okay, actually like how it was covered was incorrect. I feel like if you're on the left and you're like misinformed, you have people who know better not explain things to you, but instead like treating you poorly, you kind of shut down. And I think that causes like a lot of infighting. That basic human rights are now considered politics. Yeah, basic human rights have always been political, because the upper class doesn't want basic human rights. They want to exploit people. The people in power, the people who are like controlling the media, the narrative, and whatnot, they don't want you to have rights. They don't have your best interests in mind. As long as a person acknowledges that they are not informed and makes it known, I think it's okay. But I do think research is important. Oh yeah, definitely. But like sometimes you just think you have the proper information, but it was shifted or it was shaped by right-wing propaganda, and you didn't know, and you didn't feel the need to look more into it. That's why sometimes I get comments of people being like, you know, like I support trans people, I just don't think that like trans kids should like undergo HRT because like it causes irreversible changes. And it's like, oh, so you don't want like cis kids to go through puberty as well because it causes irreversible changes. You just like assume that like transitioning is like something unnatural, and that like these kids don't know who they are. And you also aren't familiar with the process of like how to actually get access to gender affirming care. Like you're not informed enough on the process to talk about it, and you're literally just regurgitating like right-wing rhetoric. And I'm like open to like explain these things to you, but like if I'm saying this and then you still like double down, triple down and whatnot, like then you're just a shitty person. And that's how you can kind of tell if someone is like genuinely like trying to learn and they're just misinformed, or if they're just evil. You know, politics is the study of power, the ability to compel someone to do something they otherwise wouldn't do. So long as there are people more powerful than others, things such as human rights will always be political. True. The ruling class doesn't want people to have rights. And that's what like the problem with like the Democrats is. Like every time I speak about like Democrats, I have liberals be like, oh, but we're leftists and, you know, we're actually caring about people. It's like, no, actually, like you saw that with like Kamala. Like Kamala is actually like right-wing. If you compare her to like the rest of the world, all of them are still supporting like a genocide. All of them are just like into like corporate greed. The system in America is like built on like corporations funding these campaigns. Like the DNC is like filled with like staff of people who used to be in like high positions of like corporations, and they actually don't care about things that the people care about. It was like revealed that anything that was like any concern of someone talking about like Gaza was just like thrown away. And meanwhile on the right, like Trump he just lied. He was like, oh, I'm going to end the war. He told the people what they want to hear. Even if he's like a bad person and whatnot, he was still like being like, oh, your concerns are being heard. I'm just going to say how it is and give you like an open for interpretation type of response. Because like, oh, I'm going to end the war, being like, oh yeah, I'm going to fund Israel and giving them like $8 billion so they can just like destroy the West Bank. And like right-wingers, they're like evil people. They do evil things, but because they're evil, it doesn't matter to them because they are already evil. And like with Democrats, I don't think a lot of them are evil. A lot of them are just like forced to do evil things. And that's why like it sucks out their soul, you know? He hears but might not listen. They're just liars, you know? He's literally just lying. I've been to a few of these right-wing VTubers Discords just to see, and they're always so bad and just infested with the worst types of people. Oh yeah, you see that with like Rev Sisters, like the people who attacked me, they're all like defending Lotcon stuff and whatnot. I went into Leaflet's server. Within 30 minutes, I got called a slur by a guy who openly admitted it. He's bigoted and won't stop. He never got banned. I mean, yeah, like right-wingers, like they're catering towards the worst people on social media, on the internet. And if you don't shut these people out, like you're creating a community that's like incredibly toxic. You saw that with like XQC's chat. When like XQC started to like blow up and there was no moderation, it turned into like a cesspool of the worst people on that platform. And now his community is just awful people. The worst and the most impressionable? Yeah, exactly. When was the last time a politician did not lie? Yeah, but like it's different. The right makes up misinformation. They are like making up conspiracy theories all the time. And like on the left, I think a lot of times people are just like on the left really hopeful and they're like saying things and then they don't deliver and it's being considered a lie because they didn't deliver on their promise. It just wasn't possible to like fulfill this because the system is like so rigged. I think it's like a different type of lying. An example of him lying is he claimed he's gonna decrease prices and they're already getting inflated. Oh yeah, because like he doesn't care. Can you please become VTuber? No! I'm so glad I bought the comment as well. You can use the emotes in the comments. I got memberships now and the Discord integration works too. I think that's it. Please don't leave German comments. It makes it difficult for me to translate stuff. Political video is crazy. If you consider trans topics to be political, if you consider human rights, basic human rights to be political, then I don't mind being political. Next thing you know, the news anchors are anime girls. I made a, oh my god, I made a tweet like that. I thought it was like so funny. Can you imagine this debate? I was like, I'm always considering dropping being a VTuber and instead making content with my face, but I think the idea of showing up to a debate as an anime girl is way too funny. There's only two genders, male and political. There's only two sexualities, straight and political. There are only two races, white and political. Yeah, exactly. DEI and normal. Normal meaning just white men, cis straight white men. No, you can't just keep making cat noises every time I interrupt you. Can you imagine? I'm just like sitting there being like, that's a good point, but have you considered just you showing up IRL with a paper cutout of your model over your face? Oh, what is it? Oh, the broccoli guy. I mean, if that dude can come to like Good Morning Britain, then why can't I? Halfway through a debate, thanks someone for 5 gifted. Someone redeemed I'm a bottom. Thank you for spitting in my mouth. It would be so funny to be like a political VTuber and show up to debates with your VTuber model. Robert Pierce Morgan interrupting with a sub, thanking and meowing. You'll only stop meowing if he says pss, pss. Can you imagine I'm having a debate with someone and they are like, oh, that's a really good point. I don't know how to respond to that. And they just call me a good girl. And then like my brain shuts down and I'm just like flustered. Oh, you're being such a good girl, like doing your debate and whatnot. That was such a good point. And then I'm just like, I want that debate so bad now. One day I will meta enough. I'm a bottom. One day I will meta enough to have that debate.